And now, back to the DVE Morning Show with Jim Crenn and Randy Bauman.
You went to Florida State, right?
Yeah, I went to Florida State.
Why'd you take Russian in Florida State?
Because I thought it was Spanish. I was like, a noon Spanish class would be awesome, right? And so I was like, I can't believe they got a noon Spanish class. So I signed up for it. And then I
Found out it was Russian.
I sit down, and the teacher's hot, and I'm like, this is great. Noon, hot teacher, 14 kids in the class.
It works.
I'm going to kill it, right?
Yeah.
And then she starts writing a new alphabet, and I go, when did Spanish get a new alphabet? And then I raise my hand, I go, is this Spanish? And she goes, no, this is Russian. And I went, I'm out. And then all the kids in the class go, wait, if you leave the class, we can't have Russian because we need 15 for a class.
Kidding.
And so I go, yeah, but I'm not taking Russian. And they're like, why not? And I was like, when will I ever need Russian? If I need a kidney and I got to go over there and find one? Like, I'm never going to use Russian, so I'm not going to take Russian because I don't want to learn it. So then the teacher said to me, just hang out and sit through the entire class. This is horrible. This is Florida State 101 right here. So I get done the class, and she goes, look, here's the deal. There's 14 kids that want to take the class. If you sit in here, I get to teach. I get to achieve my master, and I can teach these kids, and they can all learn Russian. So if you just show up, I'll give you a C.
Wow.
And I was like, you just sold me.
Done deal. Yeah.
Guess who's majoring in Russian, right? So then I did Russian 1, and then Russian 2 shows around. All these kids want to learn Russian 2. So I was like, hey, is that plan still working? And she goes, yeah. So I showed up for Russian 2, Russian 3. Finally, they call and they're like, hey, you want to go to Russia? I was like, I can't speak Russian. I never learned any of the language. I just sat in class and listened to a bunch of people mumble with marbles in their mouth. Right. And then finally she goes, yeah, if you go to Russian, you got to major in Russian. So I had to sit down with the head of the Russian department, and he goes, look, I understand the deal you guys worked out. So if I send you to Russia, you got to have a major in Russia, but you can't come back and take like old church Slavonic. Like you can't want to pursue this. You just have to go over there and just don't cause
You
a
can't
problem.
really be a doctor.
Yeah, so I went over there. Yeah, exactly. He's like, you don't show up at the UN thinking you can translate. Okay?
Right.
So I was like, great. So I went to Russia for like 3 months and then got involved with the Russian mob.
Wait a second.
Well,
come on, Bert.
I swear to you. So
we got to hear this. A Russian mob.
So when we go over there, they tell us the mob runs everything. This is 1993 or 95.
All right.
The mob runs anything, so we got 2 gangsters for you, Igor and Sasha. Now they go, listen, they're going to follow us around. They're going to live on the same floor we do. They're just there to make sure we've paid the mob. We've paid the mob already. They've given us these 2 guys to make sure we don't get patted down, like we don't get like shaken down.
Right.
So these guys will follow us. Don't make eye contact with them. Don't talk to them. Don't do anything. So then, of course, first thing I do is like, I'm going to meet these guys. I want to meet gangsters. I want to be the Frankie Valley of Russia. So I go over, knock on their door. And I knock on their door, and they answer the door. And they're having like a party with like real Russians in their room, and it's Igor, and he's in a wife beater, and he's like got his cigarette, and he's like "Что?" and which is what? And then I panicked, and so I meant to say, which I learned in my Russian book, my name's Bert, nice to meet you. But what I said was, I am a machine. and then he falls apart laughing. And he goes, and he just says, he brings me in the room, and he starts going in English. He goes, say it again. And then I said to everyone, I go, I am a machine. And then they're like, I'm a machine! So then they fell in love with me, and we started hanging out every day. And then I started learning Russian through Igor and Sasha. Like, they'd teach me Russian, and I'd teach them English. And then I'd teach them English slangs in Russian, like how to say, like, I can't say it on air, but like dirty slang.
Right. Okay.
So now, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a quick commercial break.
Okay.
We're going to come back from that and get Dicey's picks, my dad's retired bookie.
Okay.
And then Bert's going to finish the Russian mob
Okay.
story. Stay tuned.
Because we ended up robbing a train.
It ended, oh, okay. I thought it ended with a hit or something.
No, we ended up robbing a train. It's pretty
right.
bad. It's pretty bad. All right, so Igor and Sasha and I become really tight friends. Me and this other guy, John Bolshoi, which means Big John in Russian. He was just a big Italian guy from New York, from the Bronx, and he looked like a thug, but he was the sweetest guy. But he could really speak Russian. So a different mob runs Moscow. A different mob runs the train. So we're going to Moscow. So Igor and Sasha tell me, listen, we've set you up with a mob in Moscow, and we set you up with a mob on the train. The 2 guys are going to shadow you, just like we do. They're going to party with you. You're going to have a good time with these guys. We're friends with them. And I was like, okay, cool. So they drop us off at the train, and we meet the 2 new gangsters, Igor and Igor. And Igor look like they're really in the mob. Like Igor and Sasha kind of did, but they could also look like they maybe worked at a deli. These guys look like they're in the mob, hardcore, like tracksuits, purple tracksuits. Right. And so we show up in there, and Igor is like, "This is the machine. If you give him vodka, the machine's a good time. Like you're gonna have a good time with the machine." And they're like, and so my class is all putting their bags in coach, and the gangsters go, "The machine doesn't ride in coach. The machine rides in first class." And I'm like, "Shut up! I got my own sleeper cart, right? But it's these two guys are in it. I'm sharing it with these guys." So I bring John Bolshoi up. I go, "Let's party with these guys." I mean, the train hasn't even taken off yet, right? The conductor comes in, rips off the patch on his sleeve, gives it to. He goes, "I want to give a present to the machine."
Like you're some respect.
Because the mob's now told everyone the machine's going to be on this train. So we do a shot with the conductor before he takes off. Before the guy even drives the train, we take a shot. I'm like, "Do you want to text somebody while we're doing this?" So
like a code name for a hitman or something. Hit the machine.
Within 20 minutes, all the vodka in our first class cart's gone. Right? I mean, we've drank everything, and these guys are crazy. Like you can see the craziness in their eyes, like happening. And they go, so we're like an hour in. They go, "Let's go to the bar cart and get more vodka." I go, "Done." So me, John Bolshoi, Igor, and Igor are going to the bar cart, and now these guys don't speak any English at all. Like they speak little broken English. Igor and Sasha could translate. So we get into the thing. It's me, John Bolshoi, and Igor, and they go, "Machine, go behind the bar and get vodka." They say it in Russian, but I understand them. Yeah. And I'm like, they said get vodka. I look at John, and John's like, "You're getting it, buddy." Like I'm like you're learning.
You're drinking and your way into understanding.
They go, "Get some bread. Kleb." And I go, "I got it." And they're like, "Get some sir, that's cheese." And I'm like, "They said get bread and cheese." And they're like, "Grab all the rubles." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Grab all the money." And I was like, and then I look around, and everyone in the bar cart's standing against the wall, and they're like just patting everyone down, taking stuff out of their pockets. What? And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're robbing the train right now."
Oh my God.
And I look at John, and John's like, "Do not argue, just get the money." And now the guy behind the bar is like, he's stiff, like he's seen a ghost, and he's not making eye contact with me because he doesn't want to see what I look like because I might have to kill him, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh my God." In my head, I'm like, "Stop saying my name." So we robbed the cart. We robbed the cart, and then we go back, and now the mood has changed, right? Okay. There's no much more fun in this room. The first class cart is scary, like we're in Goodfellas, we just killed a guy. We're sitting in there, and we're just drinking, staring at each other, and the sun starts setting, and Big Igor says to me, we're going to have a lot of fun when the sun goes down. I go, "Why?" And he hands up, and he's got all the keys. He goes, "I got all the keys to the train. When everyone falls asleep, we're going to rob everyone." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid here in Russia." Yes. And I look at John Bolshoi, and he goes, my buddy, and he goes, "I don't think we're going to have an option. I think we have to rob the train with these guys." So sun goes down, and what I decide to do, because I know all my whole class is on this train, I decide to get these guys so drunk that we can't rob trains.
That's a good, great idea.
So I start drinking hardcore. Wow. Now I'm getting spins. I'm getting really hammered. And so we go to rob the first car, which is my class, and we rob my class. We rob them blind, right? Okay. We go through, this is what we do, okay? The door opens, and they slide in, and they crawl, and they start pulling backpacks out and slide them out the thing. And then we go through the backpacks, and then we slide them back, and they push it in. And now if someone wakes up, Big Igor throws open the door, takes vodka, and spits it in their eyes. This is a real thought-out plan, right. These guys. Yeah. No wonder they're in the mob in Russia and not doing something real in their lives. Yeah. So we robbed my whole class, and then finally these guys are like, "All right, we're going to the rest of the cart." And John and I are like, "Oh, we're going to hang out here." So we go back, and we start like trying to get, like, we're like panicking. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. They come back. They robbed the whole cart. We go back into the room, and we're like, "Oh my God." My teacher shows up. Valerie shows up and opens the door to my first class cart and goes, "I need to speak to Bert right now." Igor spits vodka in her face, goes, "No one talks to the machine like that." I'm like, "Hold on, she does. She talks to the machine like that." And he goes, "No one speaks to the machine." She goes, You've robbed a train. You are hanging out with gangsters. You just spit vodka in my face, and we've called the police. They'll be waiting for us when we arrive in Moscow." And I'm like, "The police?" And Igor are like, "Don't worry about it." And I'm like, "I'm worried because I don't want to go to the gulag and spend time and have to get tattoos made out of tire rubber. And I don't want that. I don't want to be a kleb or whatever what do you call these people?
Yeah. Tire rubber.
That's how they make their tattoos.
Really?
You join the gangs and they give you tire rubber tattoos. And they've all got them, and they're not good looking, okay? They're not like thought out. It's one of a goat. And I don't want a goat tattoo. Yeah. Sun rises, and we have not stopped drinking, and Igor are just smoking and drinking. We're hammered. I pull up and I look, and sure enough, on the train cart, my whole class is in their jammers, just crying. Everyone's crying, and their bags are all disheveled, and they're giving a report to the police about me. And I'm sitting there, and these two cops are like writing it down. I'm like, "I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail, and I don't even speak Russian. How am I gonna? They know I'm gonna be turned into a suck puppet. This is going down, right?" So Igor and Igor are like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
Don't worry about it.
And I go, I'm really worried because this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life in a Russian prison without speaking Russian. This is what I'm going to be, the punching bag. So then the police get done the report, and then they look over, and Igor still have vodka in their hand, bottle of vodka, and they look at the police, and the police point to them and wave them over, and they start yelling at them in Russian, like, I just said next stop Korkovskaya. Right. But, and they start yelling at the cops. They're yelling at each other. I'm going, is this how they meant to take care of it? They were just going to berate the two cops? Like, I should have taken care of it and just pleaded dumb. And then finally, in the middle of the yelling, one cop points at me and goes, I'm like, play dumb. Well, I don't know what he said. I'm making up words right now. So I like look at John, and I walk over to the two cops, and now I'm like, this is it. This is my moment of reckoning. This is me going to jail. And the cop looks at me real stern, and he goes, so you're the machine. No, he didn't. And I said, yeah. And he goes, tonight you party with me. And I was like, oh, my God.
No, he didn't.
I swear to you, I went out with two cops that night, and Igor and two other gangsters to a strip club, and then we get hammered, and then one of the cops throws me the keys. He goes, why don't you drive the squad car? No, he didn't. It's Russia. It's like the Wild West. So me and John are driving a car, pulling people over. Let's pat them down. It was the craziest time of my life.
It's Jim and Randy and the DVE.